Hi, Workflow community. I wanted to talk to you today about something I think is very important as we look at the decisions that we make in our businesses. And that is making decisions based on panic, patience, and pivoting. I feel like it's very important to make distinctions between the three different things and understanding what you're doing and the actions that you're taking for your business, knowing that those actions have both short term and long term effects. So the first one is panic. And I feel like with things happening around us, sometimes things drastically shift around us. Right now, most of us are dealing with major shifts in our business if our business wasn't already a online sustainable business. We may be having to shift or change to adapt to what's going on around us. One thing that tends to happen when change happens is we have a visceral response that we need to do something, and we need to do something now. We need to do something quickly. We need to get ahead of this. And there is often a lot of pressure from surrounding forces as well as from within, because now we're facing something new and different, to do something immediately, to make a decision, to change path, to jump in and do something because our business depends on it. And there's this sense of panic. And in that sense of panic, we are most likely not to make the most sound decisions. So, one thing as we go through this process that I want to encourage you to do is to try to slow down and lessen that panic feeling, because a lot of times we'll make a decision in the moment of panic because we feel like we have to make a decision right now. And that panic is actually oftentimes used in selling sometimes, as a way of, that sense of urgency, not necessarily panic, but sense of urgency that makes consumers do things quicker than they would like to, or without as much thought process as they would like to. But the same thing applies to business owners. We see something happening, we feel like, oh my God, what do I need to do? We may see other things going on around us, and there may be a sense of bandwagoning, which can be good and can be bad. Usually, bandwagoning can tend to be a bad thing because you're not looking at what's best for your business. You're looking at what are other people in my industry doing. It can be a great thing though as well, because you may see something that is happening with someone else in your industry and realize, you know what, that is a great way to pivot my business and move forward and be successful. But the difference between pivoting and panic is done out of this adrenaline and sense of urgency and lacks the thoughtfulness. So if you don't take anything away from this video, the one thing I want you to do is be focused in your business and not have knee jerk reactions and react to that panic, because that panic may provide a short term solution for you, but that short term solution may have long term repercussions that you're not prepared for. So, what we want to do is try to slow ourselves down so that we're not responding to that panic reaction. So, the next thing I want to talk about is patience. This is a tough one. And this is one that I know personally I've struggled with at times, hearing the word patience. I'm sure my husband is sitting somewhere laughing because he knows that I'm a anxious person, and I like to get from point A to point B solution. I'm not a person that likes to dawdle much. But throughout the process of the growth of my business as well as self growth, I've learned the importance of patience. And Patience, especially in the sense of making business decisions, is being able to sit in that silence. And oftentimes we struggle with being able to sit in silence, but we need to be able to sit in that silence to be able to hear what we should be doing next. Often you hear people in, if you read books or if you study a lot about negotiation, you'll hear the fact that once you present your case, you should sit back and be silent and let that other person break the silence, because that whoever breaks the silence first has lost the negotiation. The reason that that works is because we're uncomfortable in silence. We're uncomfortable being made to sit still. And, you know, people sometimes call it nervous energy. You get uncomfortable in that space, and then you're like, well, what do I need to do? I need to do the next thing. I need to do this. I need to do that. And you raise that panic mode, and you get back into that panic mode, and you never clearly figure out what needs to happen next. Now, that patience process, it doesn't have to necessarily be a long process, but it is something that's important in making decisions for your business, because you want to make sure that you're making decisions that are in line with the goals and the vision that you have for your business. You want to make sure that you're making decisions that make sense both short term and long term, not just short term, because short term thinking can get us into a lot of bad decision making as business owners. And once you get into that short term thinking, you tend to go from one short term idea to another short term idea to another, and you never fully flesh out that vision for your business. So now you're in action, but not making progress. Because we can move and we can do a lot of work and we can wear ourselves out and still have not made any progress. You can walk on a treadmill all day long, but you'll still be in that same location that you started. Whereas if you walk on a path, you'll be somewhere else. So that's just something to think about when you're making decisions. Are you allowing yourself time to make an appropriate decision as opposed to jumping in on the panic and making a knee jerk decision? But the final thing that I want to talk about is the pivot. And right now, pivot is a very, very popular word because a lot of people are having to pivot. They're having to, they're having to do something different than they were doing a month ago or 2 months ago to keep their businesses afloat, to stay connected to their customers, to just maintain, even if it's just, even if you're not talking about this from a business perspective, but just from a personal perspective, if you are, just sitting on the sidelines waiting for, businesses to open back up, you still have to pivot because your day to day life is different than it was a month ago, 2 months ago. So you still have to experience that pivot. But again, I'm a big believer in having a vision and a plan for your business, because that helps you stay grounded when things like this happen. So you stay grounded in who you are as a business owner, who your business is, what's the identity of your business, and you can still shift and still be true to who you are as a business. So you may be doing something very different from what you were doing a month ago, 2 months ago. But if you are pivoting and truly pivoting, you are still staying within what is true to your business. So just to further explain that, if you think about what a pivot is and you think about like a person physically pivoting, a pivot is not just going in a completely different direction. A pivot is maintaining your footing, maintaining your grounding while you shift. And I want to, just repeat that. It's maintaining your grounding while you shift. So you're not just changing completely to something that's unrecognizable, you are just shifting in a different direction. And that should feel, that should feel comfortable for you as well as your consumer base, because it should not be such a wide change from who your company is that it's not recognizable. You're shifting. You are still maintaining your grounding, but you are shifting. So keep that in mind. Keep your business goals in mind. Keep everything that is at the core of who you are as a business, and who's at the core of what your business goals are as you pivot. And again, these are, difficult times. These, things are, you know, changing by the minute. It's a lot to digest, but be sure that in this moment, the decisions that you make today are going to be good for your business long term, not just in the short term, and that those business decisions are helping to continue to build and grow your business in a way that makes sense for your business's future. So I just wanted to really share that with you guys, because I'm watching so much happen, so quickly, and we're all dealing with the emotions around it and trying to find the best solutions for our businesses, and trying to deal with, many fires, or, whatever it is that is happening in your business at the moment, but also try to, make decisions to keep everything moving forward and afloat. And there's so much uncertainty. So, again, just, please, as much as you can, please, try to take time to think about what is the long term for this, and how do I make sure that my business is going to not only stay afloat but survive this situation and be ready for everything to come once we get to the other side of the situation. I wish everyone, success in their business. I wish everyone success in their personal lives as well. And I want to just extend just, some love to everyone, and just continue to try to do the best that you can with what you have, and what, make decisions that make sense for you, and understand that they don't have to make sense for anybody else. No one else is you, and no one else is your business. So what makes sense for me may not make sense for the next person, and may not make sense for the next person. Do what's, the best that you can every day, even if the best that you can every day is just getting up and getting out of the bed in the morning, because there is a lot going on, and there's a lot being asked of us as business owners, husbands, wives, mothers, fathers, students, whatever your role is right now. Society is asking a lot of us right now, and there's a lot of change, and change is difficult no matter what your situation was coming into this situation. So sending tons of love, give yourself grace, and take it as slow as you need to. Try not to feel the pressure that, is around to, get everything 100% right, and to get everything done immediately. This process is a learning curve for everyone involved. So take your time. Don't get, try not to get too overwhelmed. And when you do get overwhelmed, look to the things that can help bring you back and calm you down. Have a good rest of your day, and I will be putting videos out periodically as topics come to mind, to try to help everybody through this process. All right, have a great day.